One could call this fellowship the crash course in hepatology. I think within a general GI practice, it's hard to get enough volume to make you very comfortable with the more complex liver disease questions. And that's why it's important to pursue a liver fellowship to feel more comfortable with the more complex patients. It's a 1-year fellowship. Actually, that's what's nice about it, is that you get such a high volume of exposure within 1 year. I think that's really important because liver disease is a very, very broad field, and the more you can see in this 1 year where you're afforded this expert supervision, I think the more comfortable you will be as an independent hepatologist.
The thing that makes me most excited about training the next generation of transplant hepatologists is really their hunger and passion for knowledge. Here at Sinai, our fellows are the pulse of our program. They are the family. They are really what ties all of us together. I feel really honored to be learning so much from them, as well as being able to teach them throughout this process to help support them.
My name is Sandy Florman. I'm a surgeon and I am the director of the Recanati Miller Transplantation Institute. The Transplant Institute was founded in 1998. We have many firsts in New York State. We did the first adult, the first pediatric liver transplants. We did the first living donor liver transplants, the first split liver transplants, domino liver transplants. We've done over 5,000 liver transplants and over 10,000 abdominal transplants.
The best part of the Sinai Transplant Hepatology Fellowship training here are really the people. The faculty that you encounter, the co-fellows that you work with, and all the other specialists that work with our team are really top-notch. You really get to know them throughout the year, and you really do feel like family by the end of it.
Mount Sinai has one of the largest hepatology fellowship programs in the country with 4 ACGME-approved positions. Fellows who train here will get a robust clinical experience managing sick and complex patients.
As a fellow, you will care for patients up until their transplant and throughout their management and immunosuppression thereafter.
I was applying from outside of the US. Sinai was the first I interviewed with. And the reason I liked the program so much was because of how clinically focused it was. For a trainee, this is like the mecca of training because of the diversity of cases that you see. In some places, it can take a lifetime's worth of a career for you to see some of the cases that we see here.
Not only do we have a high-volume liver transplant program, we also do living donor liver transplants, pediatric liver transplants, and multivisceral transplants.
The key skills you'll learn to master here at Mount Sinai during our Transplant Hepatology Fellowship training will be how to perform a pre-transplant evaluation, how to manage the care of post-transplant patients in terms of immunosuppression and other medical complications that may or may not be related to their immunosuppression. In addition, you'll learn how to do percutaneous liver biopsies.
The cornerstone of our inpatient training is the pre-transplant service. Under the supervision of our hepatology faculty, fellows guide a team of internal medicine residents as they provide frontline care for our liver patients.
I was really fortunate to start the program on our pre-transplant service, which I think is one of the crown jewels of the program. There's 2 fellows that will be on under an attending's guidance, and under you have house staff, senior residents, and interns taking care of a really busy list of transplant patients, all of whom are in different parts of the process of getting evaluated to be on the wait list for transplant.
These are patients with very advanced liver disease, some of whom are waiting for a transplant and are already listed on the transplant waiting list.
We transfer patients from all over who want to come here to be evaluated for transplantation or to be managed. We have an extremely diverse patient population, being the Upper East Side of New York City.
The liver fellow actually takes the first calls for transfers from outside hospitals, and so you get really good at sorting in your mind who's very sick and needs to come immediately, who's less urgent, and who does not need to come to our center at all for the management of their liver disease or for a liver transplant.
You really get to hit the ground running where you're learning transplant medicine from experts. I feel very supported here from the surgeons, the social work, the advanced practice practitioners on our post-transplant service.
On the post-transplant service, you get exposed to a really wide range of pathology, that happens after transplant. You get very comfortable with the type of complications to anticipate.
We also provide a rigorous outpatient curriculum. Our outpatient apprenticeship model, where fellows work intimately with a small group of faculty, allows our fellows to follow these changes longitudinally.
In the transplant apprenticeship clinic, you learn what you're looking for when you're working a patient up for transplant, how you manage the immunosuppression medication.
Throughout the entire year, all the fellows will have a continuity clinic every Tuesday morning where they'll see their own panel of patients with dedicated preceptors.
In our fellows clinic, you have your own panel of patients that you're able to follow in terms of what lab tests you want to send for them, what referrals and further testing. You really get to be in the driver's seat of that.
As the academic year progresses, we provide increasing levels of autonomy to our fellows, such that by the end of the year, they feel confident to run the service independently.
An important question I was looking for in fellowships is how much autonomy do I get as a liver fellow? So for many of us, this is our last year of training, and it's important for us to be able to simulate in a way what it's like to be in attending. I've gotten really incredible opportunities to serve as a junior attending as part of the program.
I think the program really strives to make clinical leaders.
We are deeply invested in helping our fellows achieve their desired career goals, whether they want to go on to be clinician educators, clinician scientists, general hepatologists, or if they want to forge their own path in emerging disciplines like palliative hepatology and endohepatology. We work closely with them and our vast network of alumni to help mentor our fellows through the job search and find them their ideal positions.
Sinai is an institution that helps people move their careers forward. There's really just a lot of faculty here that want to see the trainees succeed.
Speaking from personal experience as a fellow that had graduated from the program, one of the best things about the Transplant Hepatology Fellowship here is the fact that you get to be under the direct observation of many different attendings.
You're really training to become an attending and learning how to manage things on your own so that when you go off a year from when you start, you can go with confidence knowing that you know how to take care of your patients.
I think one of the things I've learned most about myself during this transplant year is just how much I'm able to do for these patients.
We hope to instill in you the same passion and joy that we have for this work.